The Spurs are officially out of any postseason contention after losing to the Blazers. And then what about CP3's future in San Antonio?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kansas 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hoping you're having a great start of the work week. I know it's Monday. You got the Monday blues. Hopefully, we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, so what are we talking about today? You can see on your screen. We're going to be looking back at yesterday's loss to the Blazers. Really not much to say other than the loss, but the bigger picture here is the team is officially out of any postseason contention. Yes, another missed play-in playoff season. What does that mean? And then we're going to look at CP3, Chris Paul. Yeah, the Hall of Fame bound point guard. One day, well, that day may be delayed a bit, but what about in the near future? Will he still be wearing silver black, or will he be wearing another team color? We're going to be discussing that and more. By the way, he has some interesting thoughts about his future. He said to Anscape recently. We'll talk about that as well. Everybody, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel right now? New customers can get themselves $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So the Spurs are officially out of any postseason contention. No play-in, no playoffs, obviously. All right, after losing to the Blazers, 120 to 109 on the road. So we're going to get into some of the numbers, what stood out. Real briefly, there's really not much to talk about. Same old, right? At this point, just way to go, Stephon Castle. But the bigger picture here is out of contention again. That's it. That's what, 7 seasons in a row, something like that, where they're just not playing beyond the regular season. Yeah, that might put a lot of pressure into next season. We'll just talk about that and more with our guest, Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Rudy's always making time out of his busy schedule to come here at Locked On Spurs. So for that, he gets us music.
I like the walk. I like that walk up. You know, fun fact, Jeff, when we're on Sweep the League, I use this music from time to time. I love it so much, so I've got to use it.
It sounds so
menacing.
It has that 80s vibe to it. It has that. It definitely has the WWE walk-in theme vibe to it. Yeah, would you think so? Let me ask you, if you were doing your walk-in entrance for your first match ever,
okay,
and this song is playing, are you running all the way to the ring and just like flying in to get the crowd hype, or are you just walking and kind of like strutting and letting the crowd see you do your march in?
So if I'm using this song, I'm probably maybe like strutting a little bit in, kind of have the cockiness and the brass, going on, and just, looking at everybody like you are beneath me. Kind of way I look at people, the way I look at people these days, that you're beneath me. So
you don't really know. No, you don't. I'm shocked. No, you don't talk to people like that.
No. Well, a couple people maybe, but not everybody.
Well, maybe a couple, yeah. But you know what? You definitely do that to our watchers and listeners and viewers here at Locked On Spurs, and we appreciate that. By the way, everybody, make sure to check him out on X at Sweep the League, and check out his show, Sweep the League, on YouTube. By the way, don't be duped. They play it 24 hours now. I got duped. I thought he was live, and I was like, I'm talking to Rudy here. I'm like, I guess he's busy with his guest. And then I got a text from him. He's like, no, that's pre-recorded. I went, oops.
Well, we'll fill everybody in at the end of Locked On what's going on, because everybody's getting confused, but we'll announce it here.
All right, cool. All right, ready? So, let's briefly look back at yesterday's Spurs loss to the Blazers. Again, a 120 to 109 loss on the road. For the most part, they kept it interesting. They had a furious comeback late in the game, really cut it down to single digits. It looked like they may pull another win. I was also rooting for kind of like a silver lining here too, for them to get the win, because they would have swept the regular season series against the Blazers. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Outside from the obvious, we look at Steph Castle, 22 points, 5 assists. He had himself a good game. At this point, he's a lock for the Rookie of the Year. I just don't see it any other way.
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes, 17 points. Devin Vassell, 21 points. Chris Paul, 8 points, 9 assists, more than him in a bit. I mean, at this point of the season, you look at the game, you're like, what's there to really take away? I don't think there really is much anymore.
No, I mean, now officially eliminated because of last night's, loss. It's kind of just one of those, kind of what you and I have been talking about. It's kind of a developmental last, 10 games or so, now being 8 games or so, 7 games. So it's kind of like a developmental type thing. Guys like Bismack Biyombo, Guys like, Blake Wesley, who's getting some run, and actually Malachi Branham finishing with 17 points last night. So the one thing that I look at is it's ho-hum. It's another losing season. It's something that, a few of us kind of said ahead of the time before the season started, expect another long season here. But here's a small positive, because, when I've been talking to you, I've been saying 2025, 2026, that's the turnaround season. They're going to have some cap space. They're going to be able to make some moves. But you got to remember, guys like Julian, guys like Malachi, these guys may still be around, Jordan McLaughlin, because they don't have very high contracts. So in order to absorb a Giannis or a Kevin Durant or somebody that kind, right, that big right there, you're going to have a lot of these guys on here. So getting them some run at the end of the season in some meaningful minutes, that's the part that you want to look at as Spurs fans. Season's over with. Season's a wash. Get ready for the draft. Get ready for the offseason. But for right now, it's these key role players that are going to be a part of the team, from here on to the future. Because, again, those contracts are team-friendly contracts. They can bring in another superstar if need be.
Yeah, 32-46, the Spurs record now. And I look back at yesterday's game. I got to talk about the obvious. That's Steph Castle. At this point, It's a no-brainer. He's a lock. I mean, it'd be criminal if he does not get the Roy this season. He leads the rookies in scoring, not just by average, but total points. There is not even close. I think the closest competition is reshape, but there's a sizable gap in points total between him and that Hawks, a rookie. Not only that, sure, maybe he's on a team that is below 500 and not going anywhere this season, but his outstanding play, his defense, his ability to show that one of the biggest knocks that he had coming into the rookie season was his shot. It's gotten a lot better. Look at yesterday's game, and again, he finished with 22 points to pull up his percentage here, but he also finished with shooting 41% from the field. So, that's a good sign moving forward for him and his development. So his ability not only just to hit the shot now, I wouldn't say we're comfortable yet where it's almost automatic, but you feel okay if he takes some outside shots. Look at 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Think about a couple of days ago, too, he was flirting with a triple-double. So he was I think 1 rebound shy. But nevertheless, Steph Castle shined yesterday versus the Blazers there. And also, too, Dylan Vassell, to credit him, 21 points, a quiet 21. I looked at the stat, I was like, oh, he had 21, didn't like it. But the bigger picture here is another season of missed postseason play. Mm-hmm. So there'll be no playoffs, obviously, not even a play-in, everybody. So now the big question is, how much pressure does this make the Spurs next season, 2025-26 season, a must? Do they have to make the play-in at minimal? Is postseason, in other words, 1 through 6 seeding, that has to happen? Because if they go on to next season and miss just the play-in, and if they're at full power, that's not a good sign. So we're going to talk about that when we get back right here on Locked On Spurs.
You're going to make me wait.
Yeah, I'm going to make you wait, buddy. On Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League and, myself over here at Locked On Spurs and Kens5.com. But before we do all that, let's talk about Monarch Money.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining online, shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Money Monarch isn't just a budget app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing all your money and you start building wealth. Look, you get surprising insights. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Easy collaboration, managing money with your partner smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress, all in one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, even plan long-term goals. Right now, you want to take control of your finances with Money Monarch. Use code LOCKEDNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDNBA for half off your first year.
I am Megatron. Do not fail me and subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back, and yes, we made Rudy wait during the break for him to react to the big question here of just how much pressure does next season present itself that they have to make the play-in or have to make the postseason. So, with that being said, I'm going to start and say they got to at least make the play-in. I mean, that at bare minimum, they got it. If Wemby's fully recovered from the blood clot issues, De'Aaron Fox recovered from the surgery. By the way, he told another outlet that after surgery that the finger would never be straight again, so I expected him to wear the band-aid sleeve he's wearing. Yeah, but the point is he won't be bothering him as much. You have sophomore Stephon Castle. Your core will be back at full power. Likely Castle will be starting. This team has to make the play-in at bare minimum. Anything shorter than that, it's another wasted season. Your thoughts, Rudy?
100%. So going in next season, now again, this is full, disclosure that they are healthy. If they're healthy, then yeah, I fully expect minimum play-in because, I mean, if you start to look at everything, Jeff, it kind of paints a pretty nice picture here for the Spurs because look at the teams ahead of them. Portland's really the only one that's young that's still going to be considered together, not making any huge moves, but Phoenix Suns, you're probably on the verge of losing Kevin Durant, possibly Devin Booker. You got Dallas Mavericks again. Anthony Davis is there. Kyrie Irving will come back. They're going to be a lot better. Sacramento with DeMontis Sabonis maybe not being there as well. Memphis with the issues that they have with obviously with Taylor Jenkins being fired and now John Morant being rumored to maybe be out of there. A lot of these teams in the play-in right now are probably going to take a step back. So with a healthy Spurs team, you've already made the move that we expected you to make in the summer of 2025, which was De'Aaron Fox. You got him at the trade deadline. Perfect. Everything's been laid on the foundation part. You've got a second-year player coming in as Stephon Castle. You have a perennial all-star already in De'Aaron Fox. You've got another perennial all-star in Victor Wembanyama. You're probably going to keep Harrison Barnes, which is your veteran leadership right there. So those four guys right there is enough to get into the play-in spot at minimum. So I really fully agree with you on that 100%. Is that next season play-in or bust? I mean, that's where I look at it right now.
Yeah, I don't think this team, this fan base, can survive another missed postseason play because, look, again, I hate doing this, giving out excuses, but you shut down Wemby because of the serious concern they have with the blood clots.
Yeah,
I get it. At that point, the season was already going to start circling, and it kind of did. De'Aaron Fox was kind of steadying the ship, but might as well, get him repaired and move forward and let Castle kind of run the ship for a while and Vassell as well. But the point is here is that if they miss the season, or they play in at minimum again, that's bad because the play-in is not just a one spot. They have a nice gap to try to get in. It's 7, 8, 9, something like that, 7 through 10.
7 to 10.
So they have those slots to get in. Right, so that's some good wiggle room. If they just barely get into it, I'll be fine with it. If they get that last spot in the play-in, I'm cool. I got to see development, not just from individual players, but now I got to see it collectively as a team. Can this team develop into a play-in team? Can this team develop into maybe a postseason threat? And I'm not saying they get into slots 1 through 6, but if they're like 7 and they're drawing some heat on whoever the 6th seed is going to be next season, I'll love it. I'm done with individual development. I got to see team development now, and what I got to see first is a play-in berth. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you on that because we're done with the development on the player side. You can't say Victor's developing. I mean, he's already an all-star. He was in talks about top 3, 4 in the MVP talk at the beginning of the season. You brought in the point guard of the future in De'Aaron Fox. So we know how he plays. You're seeing the development of Stephon Castle. So player and development, individual development, you're seeing Devin Vassell still do Devin Vassell things, which is fine. He's a great role player. Keldon Johnson accepting his role on the bench, as well as being the 6th guy. So everybody's already developed. Now, your team concept, it goes back to one thing, and that's the one question going into the offseason is who's going to be coaching this team? The only way we're going to know is when the Spurs announce it. Is it going to be Pop coming back? Will they just say, okay, Mitch, you're going to have an entire offseason and begin the season as head coach? Or do they go get a Taylor Jenkins or two guys that I mentioned beforehand in a Sam Cassell or possibly an Avery Johnson? They've got a lot of options, but it's that first question mark is what's going to happen with Pop? No one's going to force him to make a decision. But in order for this team to develop as a team, their identity has to start with the head of the table, and that's who's going to be the coach for the Spurs.
Yeah, and if the longer the Popovich kind of keeps them in limbo, then they miss.
The tougher it is.
Yeah, they miss opportunities to chase a Jenkins or somebody else that's in the radar that can make an impact, or give Mitch another shot. I don't know, but the point is that this season, this upcoming season, the new season, they got to get in that play-in, and enough already. Enough. It's just this current season's not over yet, but was just so deflating because the entire fan base came into this new season excited. Yes, we were talking about you and I play-in. Yeah, they're gonna get in the play-in at minimum. I mean, they're gonna get in the play-in. What are we talking about? And here we are, no play-in. So. But then, you got to see the team develop. You got to see those baby steps that we saw. We saw Orlando do it, make the play-in, be a threat. And then a few seasons later, they take a leap and they get into the postseason. We saw OKC do it. Get in the play-in, then get it to a minimal, like a bottom tier spot in the West and then take over the West. Houston, you're watching Houston do it right now. Baby step. They make the play-in last year and now look at them. So, we got to start seeing that kind of progress. Another big example is the Pistons. Look at the Pistons. They were like the laughingstock of the NBA last season. And now look at them now, a legit threat in the East. So that's the type of team development I got to see, Rudy.
Well, to point out a point here, I got to ask real quick before I get to the point. Am I the 0.5% of people that knew they weren't going to make the play-in or were going to have a bad record again this year?
You did it again, yeah. You said
I'm the 0.5, I guess, percent of the people that cover and are fans. But no.
But didn't you say that they were going to make the play-in?
No, I did not.
You did not? Okay.
I said absolute best case scenario was play-in, but I had them at 30 wins, 35 at the most. But 30 was my thing. I said there was going to be another bad season. So it gets you more views. Go back and watch Locked On Spurs in the beginning. You'll be able to hear me right there. But you mentioned Houston and Detroit. Those are two great organizations now. They're both in the playoffs. Houston's a 2 seed, and I think they're almost locked into that 2 seed. Yeah. Detroit got a playoff berth after being one of the worst, if not the worst teams previously. So there's one big common factor, and that's the head coach. I mean, you're talking about two great head coaches in Detroit with it was Bickerstaff, and then in Houston is Eman. So, yeah. I mean, guys that have been coaching for a while that have had some success, and if you take those coaches off, Jeff, you still got a roster of young guys that are still trying to figure out how to win, how to make it to the playoffs, to play in. Well, these coaches came in, they were able to take a young team on both Houston and Detroit and develop them into playoff teams. So again, it goes back to the big point. Can Pop come back and do it? We don't know. But it's going to start at the head of the table. They've got to get the coaching position done right. There's a lot of great opportunities out there to grab a great coach right now. They got to figure it out, because without that, there's going to be no team development. So they're going to probably be lottery bound again, which we don't want to see.
Don't want to see. And I guess the silver lining here is at least they're going to be in a deep draft this upcoming summer. So yay, there's that. But even that new kid, whoever comes into the Spurs, if they keep their draft pick, then I mean they got to fast track that guy or send him to the G League immediately. I don't know if you could do that to a top 12 pick.
No, probably not.
But then they're gonna have that the issue to deal with. And then what if it's another guard? What if it's another swing guy and it's the best available player? And it's a good problem to have, but again, that you got to make decisions. But the point is that as the team develops now, because at this point we know who Keldon's going to be. I think at this point we can safely say we know who Vassell's going to be moving forward.
Oh yeah.
We know Sohan's going to be moving forward. So we know what we got with those guys. The sky's still the limit for Wemby. The sky's still the limit for Castle and whoever they select if they keep that pick this summer. So with that being said, that's enough. I think that's enough already to push this team into the plan, and they got to do it because they come up short next season. That's gonna hurt. That's really gonna hurt.
Dude, let me ask you real quick. Do you foresee them drafting 2 guys this year?
No,
Or do you foresee them trading both picks?
I think keep one, trade one.
So keep Atlanta's and trade the highest?
Sure, why not?
I mean,
Sure, trade them. I mean,
there's so much.
but for what though? That's what I gotta know. If it's for a quality big man, like a legit big man that's willing to back up Wemby, then go for it.
So I mean, just I'm overlooking everything here, and again, this is all speculation, but I mean, you can go and get 2 guys, you can go and get draft 1, or you've got so much turmoil in the NBA this season that a lot of people may not realize it, but you actually do. You've got a very disgruntled DeMontis Sabonis. You've got a disgruntled, you got a Clippers team that probably needs to blow up already. You've got a Phoenix team that's going to blow up, whether they're going to be Durant and Booker. You have really no idea what's going to happen in Memphis. I mean, do they want to keep John? If they do they move Jaren Jackson? Because I think they should build around Jaren Jackson. Miles Turner possibly in Indiana. I mean, if they can't get any further, they're going to have to make moves. Giannis Antetokounmpo talking about if he's not going to win in Milwaukee, he wants to move on. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of turmoil in the NBA, and a lot of these guys are free agents coming up. So, I mean, if you have an opportunity to move 2 first-round picks, I'm not saying they're going to do it or it's going to happen. I'm just speculating again, but I mean, that's why I asked you, do you think they actually draft both guys or do they trade one or something?
Yeah. Well, they'll just got to give because they cannot keep all those draft picks. So I think they're going to flip one and keep one. I think they'll. I mean, obviously the most enticing one is the highest pick. Yeah. So I think you try to dangle that out, see what you got, just see who's willing to bite. Because if you can imagine you can tell hey, Sacramento, let's wheel and deal again. How about these 2 first-round picks that we have in this draft? And some of the other guys just to make the numbers work for a Sabonis.
I mean, a Sabonis Wemby front court would be ideal.
It'd be perfect. It'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So there you have it. But yeah, I mean, but certainly back to the topic here, do they have to make the plan? Absolutely next season. Yeah. But those are our thoughts on that topic. What do you have to think? Let us know. You can let me know on the YouTube page. Just go to YouTube and then look for Locked On Spurs. Subscribe and leave a comment. You can let Rudy know your thoughts on whether the Spurs got to make the postseason, play in the playoffs next season. They have to do that. And then what do you think about the roster? Should they flip those picks to bolster the team development to get them to that play-in or postseason berth next season? Again, let Rudy know on X at Sweep the League right now. When we get back, CP3 and his future in San Antonio. Is it a lock or no? We're going to be discussing that in just a few seconds. But first, I want to talk to you about FanDuel.
The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props from three-pointers, steals, assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. You got to try out the FanDuel app right now. Download it, get it on your favorite device. Easy to use, user-friendly. You can pick it up in no time and just have fun watching the NBA playoffs. Don't miss out. Head out to FanDuel.com to claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. And give him a follow, man. He's a really good follow, especially subscribe to that show. He's going to be announcing something about his show in just a few seconds. And I think I may have stumbled onto it inadvertently, but
everybody knows already.
yeah, that's the cat's out of the bag already. Hey, so Anscape recently put out an article about Chris Paul. I'll chat with him and talk about his future in the league. And according to the article, it sounds like he's not ready to call it a career, to hang up his sneakers. But at the same time, he said it's really going to depend on his family, what his kids say, because he's realizing at this point of his life, not basketball life, just his life in general, it's time to be a father, a full-time father, year round. So again, he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. So that's where we know, at least where Chris Paul stands in the article with Anscape. But now the bigger question is, okay, let's just say he decides to stick it one more year. I'm going to go in the NBA, play one more year family, and then I'll make decide my future and I'll lean towards retirement. But should be in silver and black or another team's color? Now, I'm going to say no. I think it's time for Steph Castle and the De'Aaron Fox combo to flourish. If Chris Paul's still looking for starter minutes, he wants to be part of the starting unit, then he may have to look elsewhere. The only caveat here is if he decides and he's okay with coming off the bench to back up the sophomore, Steph Castle, or even De'Aaron Fox. The point is, I just think at this point of the Spurs' evolution, their rebuild, where they want to go, you got to give the car keys to Steph Castle full-time next season. And if Chris Paul's still insistent on getting starter minutes, then he may have to look elsewhere. Now, kudos to the Spurs. They stuck to their promise. They stuck to a commitment to him. He's been the starting point guard, but he only signed a one-year deal. And if they want to renegotiate and talk about coming off the bench, I'm okay with that. But if that's not okay with CP3, then I think it's time to part ways, move forward, because Castle, Wemby, and Fox are the future, not Chris Paul in that mix. Your thoughts, Rudy?
Yeah, a big part of me says, he's going to end up leaving the Spurs. But another small part of me says that the idea of him staying with San Antonio, I think the option's there. And the reason why is because he probably wants to see what they're going to do in the offseason. If they're able to build a better team around De'Aaron, Stephon Castle, and Wemby, and he sees other teams kind of faulting a little bit, he may feel he has a good shot to win in San Antonio. Now, he's at the end of his career to where he wants to start thinking about titles. Now, a lot of these teams that are title contenders, OKC, Cleveland, Boston, maybe Houston, those teams are probably already solidified. He's not going to get starting minutes on those guys. Right. So if he's looking for starter minutes, it's going to be tough unless he goes to a team just outside of the play-in or a play-in team. Or like one team to just keep an eye on is Denver. That's the team to keep an eye on. Jamal Murray, struggles from time to time, but I think he could play alongside Jamal Murray in Denver. But outside of that, I think he wouldn't mind accepting a backup role. Just even if it's with the Spurs, backing up De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, knowing that he's probably going to be able to still start from time to time if they give, Fox or Castle a night off. So I'm going to say the chances are probably 20-25% that he stays in San Antonio. Again, it's just the winning culture. If they can get a good team built and assembled in the offseason, he may like it enough to stay because, again, the West is kind of faltering a little bit with a lot of guys being disgruntled. So who knows? I mean, I don't see him going to any of the top teams because they're not going to offer him starting minutes. And that even goes to teams like Detroit and maybe Milwaukee's another team that he can go to get starting minutes. But again, if they're on the decline, I don't know how much he really wants to go there. So San Antonio may be one of his better options, to be honest.
Unless he wants to go play in Washington. The Wizards would love to have him in
the
team.
Cooper Flagg's debating on whether to go in the lottery to the draft. I mean, because if it's Washington, he may think twice about it. So
yeah, exactly. But I do. It's not that I don't want CP3 in Spurs colors. I do. I think he's made a huge impact this season. With
absolutely
teaching, even though he said he never came here to coach, but he definitely sounds like he's coaching these guys. if he wants to stick on, as a coach, so work his way up from the bottom again, kind of like what Ime did, Monty Williams did, former players have done the exact same thing Becky Hammond has done, so if he could do that role, fine, he can stay in Spurs, but as far as him playing, I don't know. I think the Spurs got to move forward because then you have this question, okay, then you still have Blake Wesley on the roster. I mean, do you let him go? What's going to happen to his minutes? He may not be happy about that. I talked to Mitch about, Blake Wesley and even Malachi's minutes, them two not getting a lot this season. He told me he told me that they have every right to be pissed off. So, you got to think about them. If they take their talents elsewhere, okay, then maybe Chris Paul, can you stick around because we're depleted at a backup point guard spot. But again, I think it all hinges on him. Is he willing to come off the bench? Because we know this season he was not willing to do that.
On a title contending team, he's going to have to.
But yes.
Yeah, he's going to have to on a title contending team. So do you want to win a title and be a part of a team and understand you may have to come off the bench? Or do you want starter minutes and really fight to get into being a title contender with that team? That's kind of, do you want to put your body through a rigor of, the wear and tear of trying to make this team back? I think he's only been in the finals, once when he was in Phoenix. So again, do you want to go through that kind of season again? Or do you want to join a Cleveland Cavaliers team and Oklahoma City to just back them up and continue their success? That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be surprised if he's not on the Spurs roster next season.
Me neither.
I'm not going to be surprised. All right, those are our thoughts about CP3's future in San Antonio. We need to hear about you. What do you think? You think the Spurs should keep CP3 around next season, convince him to come off the bench, still give him starter minutes? I don't know about that. But you can let us know by, first of all, letting us know what you think on Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Just go there right now. Subscribe, leave a comment, or we'll read in the future episode of Locked On Spurs. Or you could also go to Rudy's YouTube show, Sweep the League. Subscribe, leave a comment there. We talk about it the entire show. The cat's out of the bag. Looks like Sweep the League is 24 hours a day now. What's going on?
Yeah, so we've already been partnered with Iron Refocused Radio from the beginning of the inception of Sweep the League. And it just became from a partnership to a merger. So we merged with them, and now you get 24/7 Iron Refocused Radio Sweep the League. So every show that we've done, whether it be the big show, Sweep the League TV, to Sweep Unplugged, to Grading the Market, everything from there to Iron Refocused Radio, Fight Inside Podcast, which is our newest MMA, everything you ever could imagine, it's on our channel now. So all you gotta do is go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit the subscribe button so you're not lost or you aren't losing on any content. But yeah, it's 24 hours a day. Sometimes we are live, actually live, and we'll get to your comments. But if you're leaving comments and we're not responding, it's because we're not live. We always read comments when we're live. So yeah, don't feel left off. But again, we are 24/7, and that is the second to last step. The last step should come in 2026, and I can't really announce it to everybody until it actually happens. I think Jeff knows, but it's the last step, and then I can retire and let everything work for me then.
There you go. All right. Well, see, now you got to go subscribe to Sweep the League right now before he becomes big. Not saying it's big right now, but it becomes bigger. So go and subscribe to Sweep the League right now at Sweep the League on YouTube and as well as X. That's Rudy's account there at Sweep the League. Before I let you go, Rudy, did you see the new Tron trailer?
I did.
I like it.
I'm head over heels because I love Tron. I love the first, so obviously the OG. I love the one that came out. It's just a confusing trailer. I'm trying to figure out how they get into Earth, the Earth realm, basically.
Well, Phil was trying to do that in the second movie.
Yeah, he was trying to do that. Now I'm assuming it's going to be more AI type thing, how AI kind of infiltrated Earth. But it's Tron, man. You cannot not be excited.
Yeah. To see the hover. Well, nerd time. There's this vehicle in the Tron world that hovers with looks like a upside down goalpost basically.
Yeah,
and it kind of hovers and it's part of a game, and it monitors, the games. If you saw the original Tron, it monitors the light cycle battle, and if you go off bounds, it'll stop you. But that huge, massive ship is in Earth now. I think you saw Gillian Anderson, right? X-Files. She was looking. Yeah, she's she's in it. Jared Leto's in it.
Jared Leto looked crazy in it, and that's kind of what I'm excited for. That I'm excited for Jared Leto.
You got 9 Inch Nails running the soundtrack, and the soundtrack to the trailer was awesome. I loved it. The light cycles, they stuck to the upgrade, because if y'all saw the second Tron, the original 80s Tron, that was like the older model of the light cycles, like the upgraded models. Obviously, they haven't upgraded them yet, but man, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it doesn't come out short, man.
Well, my phone ringer is the theme for Tron, the latest Tron to come out. So, I mean, when you call me, it goes off. And
was that the Daft Punk?
Soundtrack? Daft Punk. So,
that was a good soundtrack, man.
I don't know why people. I mean, if you haven't seen Tron, the original, and then the one that came out, I mean, you got to see it. It really is one of the most underrated, movies. Period. It's a great movie, but people just don't really ever see it. I think because it's more nerd and all this other stuff. But I mean, overall, it's a great series.
It's a really good movie. So. Yeah, it looks like Clue may have gotten his way in, so hopefully we'll see that movie hurry up. I think it's October when it comes out. So
we gotta wait a while.
But anyway, all right, there's your nerd segment for this episode of Locked On Spurs. And we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kinsfy Plus app, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below. Click on that link. It says Hello Spurs newsletter. You click on that, you sign up. It's completely free. Hit your email inbox every single day. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Locked On Spurs as the season is quickly winding down. Stay tuned to what topics are going to be on tomorrow's show. But for Rudy, Tron, Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.